You are listening to the WLW Studios Radio Network, broadcasting live from Center City, Philadelphia, WLW Studio South in Studio B. This is the Midnight Jury. This is the Midnight Jury, live from Studio B in Center City, Philadelphia, WLW Studio South. I am Mike Noringonger, and joining me in the studio today is not Adam Henning. It is
Sydney Chadwick. Hey guys, it's me, Sydney Chadwick. That was my Adam Henning impression.
Okay. Hi guys. No, my Adam Henning is, hi guys, is the better half of the group, Adam Henning. So anyway,
yours was much better.
I hope he's listening. Well, I have to sit in the studio with him all the time. Anyway, tell us a little bit about yourself, and then I'll explain what happened with Adam Henning.
Well, me and Mike go way back, old buddies. I am originally from Long Island, and I am here in Philly, living life, working.
And I have to move down here now, because now I'm doing this show. I'm from New York. Well, I'm originally from Connecticut. But I've been living in New York.
Town.
Yeah.
Or state.
I've been living in New York, but now that I'm down doing the Midnight Jury on a regular basis, and the studio, for some reason, is in Philly, I'm going to have to get a place down here closer. So, anyway. Tonight, Adam Henning is not here. Neither is Tim Mayfield. This is episode 4.5. This is the first ever bonus episode of the Midnight Jury that we have ever done. So,
yeah, bonus!
So welcome to the first ever bonus episode. And
I'm your bonus.
Your bonus tonight.
Yes.
In her see-through shirt is Sydney Chadwick.
Bonus! See-through shirt.
But that's only, I guess, a bonus for me because I'm the only one in the studio.
That's why it's the bonus episode all around. That's why I chose the shirt.
I appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
Because we, at the Midnight Jury, pulled a boner. And when we got to, when we did episode 4... we were supposed to do a third segment on SNICK and Nicktoons and Nickelodeon shows of the 80s and 90s, transporting you back to that last old school generation and bring you that. That was supposed to be our third segment. We do 3 segments. You listen to the Midnight Jury, don't you?
I do.
Wow.
I do. I love the Midnight Jury.
So that must be the one view we get. Anyway, we weren't able to do the third segment on SNICK. And then you actually were in the studio with me the night that we had technical difficulties.
I was there.
How mad did I get?
There was a lot of bleeping. If it had been recorded, there would
have
have been
recorded.
a lot of bleeping.
I was pissed off that night.
Yeah, it wasn't a fun night to be around Mike, I'll tell you that much. He felt horrible about letting his listeners down.
Yeah. And I also get really short-tempered when I think something's going to be done and it's not done. And this SNICK episode was something I was so excited to do.
Right. He's been talking about it for weeks.
Did I or did I not just order season 1 and 2 of Pete and Pete? Even though I've seen them, I've got them. I needed them.
Did you? You did.
So me and Sydney were going to do that final segment and release it as part of episode 4. But we didn't know when we were going to be able to get back and do this SNICK episode. So I released segment 4 by itself, and so now I'm calling this episode 4.5. For this bonus segment, we're going to hold off a little bit. We'll talk about it a little bit on Are You Afraid of the Dark? Adam is really excited about that one, as am I. As are you. So I think you'll be here for the next episode when we do it.
Yes, I will be here.
Awesome. May even have Tim Mayfield with us, but we never know what part of the country he's going to be in. But anyway, what I did for this episode is I went on to I was doing research overall and came across a list on starpulse.com. where they list the top 20 kids shows from the 80s and 90s. And if that doesn't stick right into what we're doing, I don't know what does.
Right.
So we'll go down that list, and we will talk about each episode or each show that comes up and whether we think it should be a little higher or a little lower. So they have, here's number 20 on their list. They have, number 20, Ren and Stimpy. Tell me what you think.
Is 20 like the bomb?
No, 20 is the lowest on the list. Now, I mean, at least it made the list.
Yeah.
For some reason, they didn't include Pee-wee's Playhouse, and it says here this isn't because you didn't like Pee-wee's Playhouse. I'm sorry. That show to me is like so friggin' awesome.
I just remember. I see, as a child, what you will have to understand, which I'll also talk a little bit about when I talk about Ren and Stimpy. I was a very easily disturbed child. So I found, but I had an older brother who was very into disturbing things. He was the one who loved the horror movies and the comic books and Jurassic Park and anything icky and gooey and that kind of thing. But I found that
all... is not icky and gooey.
Well, okay,
it was an awesome kids show that brought you into its own world. That's what I liked about it.
But for me, it just was way too bizarre. And Pee-wee himself, I thought
now, are you talking before you knew he was arrested for touching himself?
No, yeah, this is long before.
Okay.
I remember being very little and like having a weird sick feeling while watching Pee-wee's Playhouse, just because the man creeped me out and he seemed like something that would be in a horror film. Like, that's...
I'm sorry. I'm telling you, as a kid, Cherry and his big blue chair that talked. Yeah. Oh my God, King of Cartoons.
But Pee-wee's Playhouse was not on SNICK.
It was not. Well, these aren't the top 20 SNICK. This is the top 20 kids shows from the 80s and 90s. Okay. So that's why I'm saying, like, to me, Pee-wee's Playhouse would outdo a lot of these. Okay. So I will bring that up when those shows come up.
Okay.
So number 20, they have on their lowest. Would you have put Ren and Stimpy on your top 20 kids shows from the 80s and 90s?
I would not have put Ren and Stimpy on the show. Oh, well, okay. I would put it on because I do think... I personally did not enjoy watching the show. I do understand that it was kind of like, you know, a monumental cartoon. There was not another cartoon that was out there like that, and it was ingenious, some of the jokes that they came up with, and the completely different kind of animation. So I can give it that credit. I personally found it, as a small child, a little girl who loved, like,
our age difference
princesses. Yeah, we're 6 years apart.
6 years apart. So there is a big difference because to me, as a boy who is 6 years older
and I could totally understand why little boys would.
I'm telling you, that show was so gross, and like anytime they'd zoom in on Ren or Stimpy, they'd be 300 times grosser than they were 2 seconds earlier.
Yeah.
Because when you look at Ren and Stimpy, they're not. They look like regular cartoon animals, and granted, one's a Chihuahua, but Chihuahuas are weird looking anyway.
There's just so many butts.
Yeah, they're very
hairy,
into butts.
kind of shiny butts. There was the harvesting boogers that I remember being like really disturbing,
especially as a boy. That's all I'm saying. I loved it. So I would have put it a lot higher than 20.
And I think that just the way that they made some of like the drawings of the bodies of people, like with the huge pecs and like bulges and like bulging butts, like that was a little bit too much of me to see. And also the fact that it was a dog and a cat, and me, when I, being a small little girl, would love to watch a cartoon that would like start a puppy and a kitty, but this puppy and kitty were not cute at all, and I also found that very disturbing.
I actually have, I don't know if, I wonder if I saved it to my phone. I actually got to actually look live right now on the Midnight Jury. No, oh no, I didn't. Okay, so I don't have to look. But I have it somewhere on the computer. I'll find it later. But it's an artist rendition of what Ren and Stimpy would look like if they were real animals, and it's the most horrendous, scary-looking thing you'll ever see. I can't wait to show it to you when we're done. But anyway, okay, so I would put it higher. She wouldn't even put it on her list.
Well, I'm not saying I wouldn't put it on my list.
But
not
I'm talking about, I'm not
personal
exactly,
list.
and that's what I want. I don't want what you think. I'm not looking at this at like, what would the world think? I'm thinking about what Mike Noringonger would think. What the gonger would say.
What the gonger would say. All right.
Please, let's not coin that.
Gonger, which one's
No. Okay, so 19. This one I would put higher, and I'm actually shocked to find out that it actually only ran for 2 years. Legends of the Hidden Temple.
Yeah.
I would have put this not only so much higher, but man, they must have been running in reruns for 10 years. Because
like you got to know those kids.
No, not the kids, but like I felt like I watched that show it was such a big part of my childhood that I feel like, and Kirk Fogg, the host of the show, I've always had a joke actually with Tim Mayfield that Kirk Fogg is like a child toucher. Because he just always like put his hands on the kids a little too much, because when we grew up... I wouldn't
call him a child toucher.
I know, I don't want to put that out there. I actually really like Kirk Fogg.
No.
Who else would go out and go online and order the movie that he wrote and starred in and produced and everything?
Oh my God.
What was it called? Distortion.
You need to watch Distortion, people.
Yo, if you email me, I will make you a copy and send it to you.
watch this
something.
movie that Kirk Fogg wrote,
Mm-hmm.
starred in,
Yep. And I think
directed. And it is one of the darkest, cocaine-filled,
yeah, like
gratuitous
sex. There's a lot of sex.
Sex and gun violence. Pornography.
Yeah, there's actually the movie centers around, like, I think his, like, girlfriend gets kidnapped or something, and she gets, like, brought into the, like, as a kidnapped slave, brought into the world of, like, underground porn, and he has to, like, save her.
She has to go back to pornography, like, her past life in order to, like,
and Kirk Fogg's kind of okay because they're both, like, messed up.
He does lots of cocaine, so he's cool.
But either way, I didn't like how he touched the kids, because years later, I didn't notice it as a kid. As a kid, I just thought it was awesome, especially with Olmec, the talking head. I mean, who doesn't love all the silver snakes, the blue barracudas? Like,
Yeah.
everyone has their team.
Everyone had their team.
Yeah, and everyone still to this day has their team. But I just looking years later I'm talking like 10 years ago when me and Tim Mayfield were sitting in his actually parents' living room watching Nickelodeon Gas, the network that came out that like re-released a bunch of the old shows. He just touched the kids a little too much, and he really seemed to like wearing those
harnesses. I've told you this before. I had a gym teacher in elementary school.
Watch out, Long Island gym teachers.
Yep. Who, for some reason, because we would always
They would never do that in my home state of Connecticut.
He was really proud of the fact that they had installed in our gym these rock climbing things, and there was a special word for it, but we had to like wear these harnesses and be hooked up to a wire, and we could like fly across the gym or climb this rock wall, and there were special harnesses that we needed to wear, but there were only certain times a year where we would do this, and he would walk around all year wearing the harness.
So his
and like
junk
tight
was probably
jeans, and it completely and utterly accentuated everything from his butt to his junk.
This was elementary school?
This was elementary school, and he would just walk around the hallways like that. And I remember being very.
Do you think the other teachers would talk behind his back?
I felt like he was doing it for the lady teachers.
Ew.
Like he would walk into a room and be like, "Hey, Mrs. Zimmerman," and like kind of thrust out a little bit in his little harness. I just remember it being weird. I'm sorry if that was a complete
No, that's a good
side
story.
note.
That's a great story.
Sorry.
No, that's an awesome story. Anyway, number 18. Now, with Legends of the Hidden Temple, we both at 19, we both thought it should be a little higher. Do we both kind of agree on that?
Yeah.
Okay. Number 18. Hey, dude. Doon, 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 doon. It's a little wine, a little thing when you take all out on the range. Now, this show actually highlighted Christine Taylor, who was nobody, and then she like married Ben Stiller.
Mm-hmm.
She did The Wedding Singer. She did Dodgeball. I mean, those are just. I mean, she's been in like pretty much everything since she did Hey Dude, and she was the hot girl on Hey Dude.
Awesome.
So, did you watch Hey Dude?
I did, and I remember loving Hey Dude because I watched it in the time of my life when I was taking pony lessons at Pretty Pony Rides. And I was really into horses, so it was really
That was
into
out
Hey
on Long
Dude.
Island?
Yes.
Okay, I'm just making sure. But anyway, so I liked Hey Dude, and I remember as a kid watching Hey Dude, and I think his name is Danny. There is a Native American cowboy on the show.
Yes.
Which, now I grew up in the 80s, which I always say to people, like, we were the last old school generation, like, seriously. Like, if you grew up in the 80s, like, that's it. And when I grew up in the 80s, cowboys and Indians, I don't know. I just still looked at it as they were enemies. I don't know.
Really? I don't know.
Me and my friends would play cowboys and Indians, you would play war, you would play whatever, but like it was always cowboys versus Indians. Now I'm talking 83 through 87. We're not talking about 90s where it became all of a sudden you had to call them Native Americans. No offense to everybody, but whatever. I'm just saying that like it was that last generation where it was before all the PC, internet, computer generation
I never really
showed
thought
up.
about that. I always thought that like cowboys and Indians just kind of coincided because I don't know.
Do you think Hey Dude would be on your list?
I didn't watch it enough. I don't know.
I think I'd keep it right where it's at.
Yeah, I think.
I think
remember
there's a lot
it was
of shows,
okay, but it
yeah.
was one of those ones where I would be like, oh, I kind of wish something else was on.
Yeah. Oh no. See, I didn't think that. See, I'd put it on my list. I would definitely put it on my list, but I don't know if I'd put it any higher. I think I could find a lot of other shows that I liked more. So anyway, 17. It seems like they're not giving a lot of credit here, StarPulse.com, to the game shows yet so far, because number 17 is Guts. Would you have put Guts above Legends of the Hidden Temple?
Do you have it?
Yeah, with Mike O'Malley, who like literally is an insane coked out. Rewatch Guts, people.
Yes.
Not only is it fun to watch Mike O'Malley and Maura Quirk, let's go to the leaderboard. Mo, Jonathan clocked in, or whatever. But we also saw the episode with who?
AJ the Mean McLean. AJ from the Backstreet Boys.
Damn right, all you 90s fans, bam, AJ.
Totally as a little boy, not like a little boy, but probably
What do you think
13, 14 years old.
He was still definitely in an
on
awkward.
Guts. It was amazing.
He lost to
It
a
was
girl,
amazing.
unfortunately.
Yes.
But, yo, I want to tell you right now, even though AJ Mean McLean lost to a girl, I am a huge fan. I am a straight man of the Backstreet Boys, and I think AJ Mean McLean is the man. And you are the man, AJ.
Yep.
That's all I'm saying. Now, you're not as cool as Nick Carter. He was in the Hollow. I'm sorry. If AJ Mean McLean was in the Hollow, I'd probably like AJ Mean McLean more than Nick Carter.
Yeah.
But Nick Carter had that fat, drugged out phase. Now, I know Mean McLean had a whole drugged out phase. But Nick Carter...
No, his vice was booze. I don't think he ever really...
Well, you know, drug, booze, whatever. You know, that out of control phase. But anyway, would you have put Guts, which is here, we're at 17... Would you have put Guts or Legends of the Hidden Temple higher? Right now. Quick first thought.
But I would probably say Guts, but the thing is when I was watching it, when it was out, I preferred Legends of the Hidden Temple over Guts because I liked the
and I'm including Global Guts.
I like history, so and even back then, like I always liked War in the World's Carmen Sandiego.
Hey, well, not only is that not on this list, and I would have put it on the list, so I'm glad you friggin' brought that up. I feel like I'm swearing less because there's a pretty girl in the studio, because usually if Adam was here, I would be going nuts. But anyway, where was I at? Oh, Carmen Sandiego, that was legit. Like, they really taught you geography and stuff.
Yeah.
But on Legends, the stories they told were not...
Yeah,
like,
but
they were true characters, but they weren't true story. It was like you had to pick and find the trueness in those stories.
But I always felt like I liked it because I always wanted to watch Jeopardy and stuff with my dad, but never knew any of the answers. And I liked being able to watch a show that was about things I was learning about at that particular time and was able to answer the questions. So while they were on, I would have preferred to watch Legends of the Hidden Temple over Guts. Now rewatching them as an adult, I would prefer to watch Guts over Legends of the Hidden Temple.
I think I'd still like Legends.
Because I always wind up getting so mad at the kids in Legends of the Hidden Temple when they finally get to the temple. Yeah. And they're just awful. And they just kind of sit there for a minute. They don't really care. They just kind of run in circles.
It's because with the aggro
and then they
crag,
cry.
Hold on, but with the aggro crag, it's like they give you a certain path to take. So it's like you can't mess up. So that's why I feel like it looks cleaner to you as a viewer, or to anyone as a viewer. I feel like because they give you your own side of the crag.
But I just
Legends, you have to go all over the place. So you have a lot of dumb, stupid fucking kids. Sorry to swear. Ooh, I'm sorry. But you have these dumb kids who are just clearly just. I mean, I'm sorry. They sometimes I feel like they pick the most inept, stupid people because you'd see their partner getting all pissed off because their partner's just so stupid. And that's the one thing about Guts. Guts was its own thing. You were fighting for your own team. So if you were an idiot, you took bronze.
And I feel like the kids who were on Guts were legit. Hi, I'm Jenny. I play soccer and I do gymnastics and I am going to win.
Yeah. And then on Legends of the Hidden Temple, they went outside at Nickelodeon Studios.
Exactly.
And was like, hey, you want to be on a game show?
It was just kids on vacation. They're like, oh, I want to be on TV. And they're like, hi, I'm Susie and I ride horses. You know?
Yeah, I agree. But no, I still think I would put Legends because I like the concept of the temple. I put you in that different world. I was a big world, different world thing. But I like that you could go into the temple and they had different rooms and
also,
that was cool to me.
The prizes on
I think both
Legends
prizes were pretty lame.
Yeah, but they would send you to a horse farm.
No. Sometimes you get a real cool one, and then a lot of people would get sent to the horse farm in upstate New York. And I know it was filmed in Orlando, but me and you are both from the tri-state New York, New Jersey, Connecticut area.
So bad. That's literally
what is that? I came all the way to Orlando. I'm on Legends of the Hidden Temple, and my special prize is to go to a dude ranch in New York State.
Just literally an hour away from me.
Woo! So anyway, okay, number 16. is now you might have to talk more about this one because I don't know. Number 16 is Tiny Toon Adventures. I was a little too old at the time for that, but I still at the time would still watch things like, I don't know if you remember Camp Candy, or they also had Pinky and the Brain. Like, I would have rather watched those shows than Tiny Toons. Yes,
I did like. I agree, but I did watch me some Tiny Toons.
And I also would have rather watched Looney Tunes at the time.
Yeah.
Like I liked their parents.
I never liked Looney.
I guess I'm in that generation.
Yeah, I never got into Looney Tunes. I do remember, but Tiny Toons I feel like I did watch when I was very little. I really identified. I believe her name was Esmeralda.
Wasn't she the bitch?
No, she was evil. She was the girl who
like
went
the Angelica?
around. Well, kind of like that, but she would just she would think that all of the animals were so cute and hug and squeeze them and kiss them and like really upset them, and that is something that I do. And my brother used to be like, you're just like Esmeralda, and I do remember thinking,
thanks.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that is something that I do.
So for 16, I honestly I wouldn't even put Tiny Toons on my list. Not that saying it's a bad show. It's just I didn't watch it enough, and I feel like I was just a little too old at the time. Yeah. What would you do with it at 16? Would you have it on your list?
I don't think I would have even put it on my list.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, me neither.
So
Tiny Toons, you're out of here. And now our idea is done. Bam. Okay. So number 15, and this one I can also throw the fuck off my list, is Animaniacs. I didn't watch it. Didn't care, and I wasn't like. I don't know.
Now with Animaniacs,
I was too old at the time.
Did watch
There's a lot of people who are going to be pissed when they hear this.
I know. Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
There's huge Animaniacs and Tiny Toon fans. Like, huge. And I understand that.
The Animaniacs were the same people who did Pinky and the Brain.
Creators.
So I can see, exactly. So I can see why. I do remember watching some Animaniacs and thinking that it was very good, but some of it did kind of go over my head. And it
didn't go over my head. I felt like at that point, like, because honestly, I remember Animaniacs and Tiny Toons and all that stuff being on the same time in the morning, right before I went to school. Mm-hmm. At the time, I was in I would say late middle school, and I was at that time turning in the morning when I woke up. First thing I put on was Sports Center. Mm-hmm. I used to fight for Sports Center. My sister would fight for like the Warner Brothers lineup, which wasn't all Warner Brothers shows, but it was like that morning cartoon block where you had. I remember it was like Pinky and the Brain, Camp Candy, Tiny Toons, Animaniacs, that kind of deal. And which became, I think, Recess. I think it was like a one Saturday morning, but it was like every morning.
Friday has an exit sign, getting there may take some time.
See, it's different generations.
Yeah.
Right there. But okay, so that was number 16 and 15. That was 16 Tiny Toons, 15 Animaniacs. We're gonna take a quick break, but this is a throwback ad. It's not like I'm gonna sit here and start throwing out to people like, one of our favorite wrestling Facebook pages like WCW and WWE. It's not like I'm going to give props to the Michael Myers fan page on Facebook. Like, what we're gonna do is, even though those are great, those are terrific pages.
I think that was kind of props.
That was.
Okay, props.
Props. But anyway, we're going to go to a quick ad, a quick commercial break. And I want you to stick around for this because it might throw you back and transport you back. We'll be right back on the Midnight Jury.
Afraid of the dark? Stay in the glow of the couch and stay tuned. We don't need to tell you, life's tough.
I'm just trying to survive till junior high.
That's why Nickelodeon presents D-O-U-G Doug.
What should I do?
Doug. He's 2 eyes, 4 limbs, and 84 pounds of wishful thinking. Plagued by grown-ups, hounded by homework, a little nervous about girls. He's just a kid trying to make the grade, 7th grade.
What are you waiting for, funny? Hop to! Chop, chop!
Can Doug pull through?
How did I ever get into this mess?
Find out on Doug, one of the Nicktoons, tomorrow at 10, 9 Central on Nick.
Yeah. Kick it.
This is Adam Henning, and you are listening to the Midnight Jury on the WLW Studios Radio Network.
And we are back, and I hope you guys enjoyed that because I enjoyed making it for you, and I think I'm going to pull more of those for you. Actually, we have one more for you this show that I hope everybody will enjoy. But anyway, back onto our list. Once again, this is Mike Noringonger live here in the studio.
The gonger.
I just said that and it was cool at the
No,
moment.
that's something.
But anyway, the gonger is alone in the studio tonight without my Midnight Jury co-host, Adam Henning. I miss him, but my replacement for Adam Henning is not Tim Mayfield. Last time I checked, he was in Ohio. But it is Sydney Chadwick. Sydney,
Hi.
you are gorgeous.
Oh, stop.
No, I have to say,
Stop.
you are much nicer. Like, as I get drunk throughout shows, looking at you than Adam Henning.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm not that Adam Henning is a bad-looking individual. I'm just saying. So anyway, we have now moved on to the top 15. We've already said 15 Animaniacs. Get that out of my face. But number 14, Doug. Which was the perfect lead-up. What did you think? Would you have put it higher than number 14 in your top 20?
I would have put it higher.
Too. I would have too. And honestly, we're going to talk quickly about Doug. But I don't want to pull too much into this because I know Adam Henning is a huge Doug fan. And also, a friend of ours, a friend of Adam Henning, friend of mine, I worked with him a little bit in WLW Wrestling. But from WLW Wrestling and BCW, Tough Guy Tom Schkelkin, also big Doug fan. And they have very strong opinions on Doug on Nickelodeon and the Doug that then moved over to Disney and was put on ABC.
It was different.
It was different voices. And I remember...
low-fat mayonnaise. It was not...
Wow.
It was different.
Doug, wow, that might be one of the quotes I have to throw up on our webpage. Because that right there, to me, I am smiling ear to ear because that was one of the most perfect descriptions of Doug moving to ABC. Because when I saw it, it was like the voices weren't the same, so I was just like, eh.
The animation wasn't the same. The colors, they're like, hey, we'll just draw purple people with green hair. And give them storylines that are kind of like Doug, but take out some of the characters and put in new characters that you don't really care about.
Yeah. Luckily, during the quick throwback ad break, our cute intern was able to make us some more drinks, some more midnight mixes that I like to call them. So they're delicious. I'm not drinking a martini tonight, folks.
No.
Number 13, Fraggle Rock. Did you watch enough?
I watched tons and tons and tons. See, here's where the age difference
Dance your cares away.
Yeah,
Worries
I
for
did.
another
That was
day.
something as a young child, like toddler up to 4 or 5, was a big, big thing for me.
I loved Fraggle Rock. Like, loved it. And even as an adult, still enjoy Fraggle Rock.
See, I was a Fraggle Rock fan, but I was more of a Eureka's Castle fan.
Eureka's Castle. No, I agree. Eureka's Castle, but Eureka's Castle came out many years after Fraggle Rock. I mean, Fraggle Rock was 83 to 87 on HBO.
Okay, so then I was born in 87, so I was watching Fraggle Rock reruns.
Yeah.
For a couple years of my early life.
See, what happened with me is I would always tape. We didn't have, like, all the premium networks. Did the Disney Channel, HBO, Cinemax back in the 80s. So every, like, few months, we would get a thing in the mail that said, hey, you're about to receive a free week of the Disney Channel or a free week of HBO. And what I would do is
those were the best weeks of my whole life.
And then what we would do is I would pull it out, and I would pull out literally just the listing, and I would circle every show that I wanted to tape or watch. Yep. And I would tape Fraggle Rock. I would, that's what I would do. And same with Disney Channel. I would tape Kids Incorporated, Mickey Mouse Club. I would tape all that stuff. And did you find that as a kid, you were either Disney Channel or Nickelodeon?
Well, see, I was a Nickelodeon kid. I was always a Nickelodeon kid.
Nickelodeon
but that's
was
just
free.
Because I did not have the Disney Channel.
Me neither.
I asked my parents for the Disney Channel for every birthday, every holiday. Yep. I just didn't understand.
Oh, man, I'm going back to the
pain. Why we couldn't just get that channel.
Why couldn't you just give us the Disney Channel? Is it really that much to ask? I know you guys, my parents didn't have tons of money growing up. I don't know about your parents. But my parents didn't have. But come on.
I mean, I could understand not wanting to get me the kitten, but
it's a channel, for God's sakes, and I would have watched it all the time.
Yeah.
Either way, We didn't get those channels. So either way, that's how I got into
Not
Fraggle Rock.
not
Because
that
when we got
didn't
HBO...
enjoy Nickelodeon. I
Oh,
enjoyed.
no, Nickelodeon was...
When we were youngins, Nickelodeon was amazing. It was
Yes.
awesome.
Now, number 12. Because here's where the age gap is going to come like smack dab in the face between me, Sid. You can't do that on television. Did you even watch it?
Nope, never saw it, never heard of it.
And I'm going to have to order it up. Because you can't do that on television at number 12. I would probably keep between 12 and 8. But to me, I mean, we're talking gross kid sketch comedy from Canada. It was basically like an SNL, but with the same characters and skits every week because they only had a certain amount of sets. They had a house and a dinner table, and they had the lockers that they told jokes out of. They had like the inside of what looked to be a jungle gym. And also, did you know that you can't do that on television? And all us fans of the show would know this, but a lot of younger people don't know this. The green slime of Nickelodeon came from you can't do that on television.
I did not know that.
Yes, anytime there were two things that no matter what scene you were in, if you said the word water, out of nowhere, water would dump on your head. No matter what scene you were in, no matter what character you were playing.
Nothing more entertaining to a child than watching somebody get a whole lot of stuff dumped on their head.
Then, here's where the green slime comes in. If you said the words, I don't know, you got green slime dumped on your head.
Oh, no.
And from that point on, Nickelodeon used the green slime. And like, I'm telling you, you could find it.
Slime was huge.
Yeah, and you could go back on YouTube and check this out. And usually it's either under you can't do that on television, or it's under YCDTOTV, which is the initials, obviously. But that's how they get past people looking for them. Mm-hmm. Okay, on to number 11. Oh, did I say that was 11? I don't know. Either way, that was 12. I would have kept it between like... Oh, no, I said between 12 and 8. I would have kept it in that range, that middle range. Number 11. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. You were a girl.
I was a girl.
Then. Now you're not.
No.
No.
Now I am a woman.
But anyway, I was too old.
I was too female.
I wouldn't put it on my list personally.
No.
Yeah. So I'm flipping pages here. I have all this stuff here. We are in the top 10.
Okay. Ba-bum-bum.
Dun 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 dun. Anyway, number 10. Now, another game show, so they are giving a little bit of respect here. Number 10, Double Dare.
Watched it, enjoyed it.
Would you have put it higher than Guts and Legends of the Hidden Temple?
I would not have.
Really? I mean, I don't know. I'm thinking. I'm actually like in the process.
know.
They had a lot of green slime.
There was.
I mean,
was
like
a lot of
I like
ickiness.
that. I like that Nickelodeon in its early days and early game shows like Double Dare or like You Can't Do It on Television. They created the green slime. I like that the shows were based in that orange, that green, that blue, like that Nickelodeon color. And Double Dare was a show that, like, please, if you didn't know it was on the Nickelodeon network, then where were you?
Yeah,
because
it
was
was very
blowing Nickelodeon in your face.
It was very something I wanted to do.
Oh yeah, but did Family Double Dare piss you off as much as
Yeah.
I did with the father, who clearly didn't want to do it or whatever?
Yeah, well, that's what
Oh.
whenever I would watch Family Double Dare, I would be like, "There's no way my dad would do this."
Well, it's
ever.
like some of the parents act like there's not something on the line.
Yeah.
Like, come on! Not only are you on TV, but you're in front of a studio audience, and you're vying to win something. You can't look under that pizza and that pepperoni quicker. Like, come on, people! Like, I'm sorry. Like, in the things, if I saw a parent who had to go at that pizza, or go at like the sundae, or go at something where they had to look for the flag in something and they had to get legit dirty, forget about it.
Yeah.
Forget about it. You're going to be wasting 20 seconds of your 60 seconds waiting for dad to look through a friggin' pizza, whereas the kid would have dove headfirst into the thing, cleared the pizza, and when he came out the other end, the flag would have been stuck to him or something. Like, I'm sorry. Like, and the problem is in my day, and I don't know if you remember this, Double Dare, they showed like that was it. And then when Family Double Dare came out, I felt like I never saw a Double Dare anymore. I always was seeing Family Double Dare.
Yeah, well, I have more vivid memories in my head of Family Double Dare than I do of actual Double Dare.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
Regular Double Dare. Double
That's
Dare.
the problem.
No, that is the problem because regular Double Dare, it was two
Hey,
kids.
it made the list higher up. It made the top 10. Like, what's the problem?
No, it's not a problem to me. But what I'm saying is, it doesn't say Family Double Dare. It says
Right.
Double Dare, but Family
Maybe
Double
they're
Dare pissed me off.
including Family
They
Double
probably
Dare
are.
in Double Dare.
But I don't know. I just had a problem. Oh, and then they came out with like, and this isn't on the list, but they came out with like Double Dare 2000 where they had a different host.
Yeah.
Screw
Meh.
that. No, Mark Summers is the host of You Can't, or no, he's the host of What Would You Do, which isn't on the list. But do you remember that show where
Yes,
you went
I
to the
do.
wall
Yes, I do.
and you get like a pie in the face, or you get like a T-shirt?
Oh, I wanted to do all of those things so bad.
And then they had to keep coming up with new pie things to like
Yes.
get you excited. First it was the pie chair, where they flung all the pies at your
Oh,
face.
the pie chair!
Right? Then it became like the pie coaster, where you went out of the roller coaster and there was just this big pie at the end that you just smacked into. But they went overboard with that. But Mark Summers was the king of like Nickelodeon game shows back in the day. Number 9 is Inspector Gadget.
Do-do-do-do. Inspector Gadget.
And this is
Do-do-do-do.
not Matthew Broderick. This is old school Inspector Gadget with
so-
Dr. Claw.
Yeah, so here's my thing with Inspector Gadget. It was a show that I watched and I can remember some of, but there was, for every single time I watched it, I don't know if it was an association thing because maybe I watched it on a day when I was homesick, but every time I watched that show and the opening song would start, I would get a headache. So I
Really?
couldn't
That's
watch
really
it.
weird.
It was just some
Like, that's
weird
just a
association, and
weird thing.
I always think about it. I always think about how for some reason there were a few TV shows and one particular store that I went into, a little side information, that every time I encountered these things, I got a headache.
That's strange.
Yeah.
I just liked the show. I thought it was a great show. I liked all of his gadgets. And I really liked Dr. Claw. You never saw his face. You only saw him petting his cat.
He had a cat. I did like the fact that he had a cat.
Um,
I did like, after watching Inspector Gadget, I do remember being a child and being stuck in traffic and having that fantasy of sprouting legs out
like
of the
having
car.
a gadget car or something.
Yes, having a gadget car and being able to like shoot up Inspector Gadget style and like crawl over all the
or
traffic
even
and get
have
out of it.
gadget hands where you could like I'm sitting here right now doing the radio show, but I could I want to go over there and grab like something. I could shoot my hand out and go grab it without having to get up out of my seat.
Mm-hmm.
That's something I liked. But that was number 9. I probably would have had it if I had it on my list. It would have been a low number.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have been number 9. Even though it was during my era, there was a lot more that I would have put higher. Number 8 is one I would have put in my top 5 without a doubt. The Adventures of Pete and Pete.
Uh-huh.
I mean, let's be real here. You go for a minute, because I know you've watched it recently because I had it.
Yes.
I lent it to you. We all had this. We all
Watching
had a
it,
watching party.
I remember watching it as a child and loving it and thinking it was funny and thinking it was, cool, and I loved the Petes,
Even though they were gingers.
Yeah, I really related to them. They lived in a similar town to what I grew up in and was, I had a big brother. Watching it as an adult, after really loving it as a child, but watching it as an adult is, you gotta go and get Pete and Pete.
It's one of those shows that stands up.
Genius.
It stands up.
They're very, very smart and very, very creative people. Really great writers on the show. Really great child acting.
Really great adult acting.
Great adult acting. Random guest star appearances that you would be really surprised to see. Steve Buscemi.
Janine
Ellen's
Garofalo.
dad. Yep, Janine Garofalo.
Iggy Pop, who's Michelle Trachtenberg's dad.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's just so many throughout the show that you're like, oh, crap.
Yeah.
Look at that.
They really, and having the younger Pete and having the older Pete on the show and
in different storylines, usually.
Alternating storylines was a great way to keep younger kids and their older siblings involved in watching the show. It was just really genius and really well done, and it also holds adults' attention, and I am very, very impressed with Pete and Pete having watched
Top
it
5
back.
Pete characters that aren't Pete repeat. Go.
Top 5 that I like?
Yeah. You want me to go?
You go.
Okay, I'll go.
Geez,
and
I'm
this is in no
spontaneous.
particular order, okay? I may order them in a minute. But Stu the bus driver.
Love him.
Okay. Dad. Because I mean, he's every dad.
Yeah.
He really is. I miss, Artie. I like Artie, now because it's just such a ridiculous concept that parents would allow their children to hang out with what seems to be a mentally retarded guy in long underwear whose junk is always showing off and thinks he's a superhero. But they make him do superhero things, so that makes me wonder what's going on here.
Yeah.
So, and
It's
Stu the bus driver.
It's the best show that really took the imagination of children of the ages of the, you know, their main characters and just kind of turned it into reality. I remember going through the same kind of things that those kids were going through, and the storylines and the stories that happened as a result of these things were things that I felt like I could have imagined myself going through.
Yeah, whether
like
road trips
at that age,
or like maybe like the dad had the Rolling Thunder, the bowling ball. Now, like maybe your father or my father didn't have a bowling ball.
No, but
all
he
of our
had
fathers
his
had
things.
their things
Yes.
that they truly loved and treated like Rolling Thunder. You know, so yeah, I agree completely. I think that show, and they literally filmed it right in a regular Jersey suburb, and like it just seems like in every America neighborhood, just like, you know, it was just a great show. And number 8, I'm sorry, starpulse.com, but that should have been in your top 5 right there.
Agreed. Rewatch it, Star Pulse.
Yeah, rewatch the show, you idiots.
Well, don't call them idiots.
Whatever.
That's not nice. You never met them.
This is a show that I would have kept high, probably at this spot, but I would have put Pete and Pete higher. Rugrats at number 7. Would you have put Pete and Pete higher, though?
Well, that's the thing. Going back as an adult, I would have put... I guess I would have put Pete and Pete higher, but I loved Rugrats. I watched Rugrats constantly. Whenever it was on, I was watching Rugrats. To the point where I remember my father getting so irritated by having to listen to the little baby voices for hours on end, because if you're not watching it and you're listening to it, I can definitely see how it can be irritating. But I went through everything with those kids. Reptar. I loved it. And I had a cousin who was very much like Angelica and had a very similar name. And I just,
they actually start the review off with one of Chucky's main catchphrases. Maybe this isn't such a good idea, Tommy.
Yeah.
He used to utter that all the time because, of course, Tommy, Phil, and Lil would go off on their adventures, and of course Chucky was a wimp. Which is weird because check this out. His name was Chucky.
Yeah.
He was a small,
red-haired, freckly child.
Yes, who looked exactly like fucking my Chucky.
Ooh.
Yeah. Charles Lee Ray, Chucky from the Chucky movies, except complete polar opposite characters.
Chucky was already nerdy as a baby because he wore glasses with tape on them.
Yeah, Chucky from the Chucky movies didn't have glasses. He had perfect 20/20 vision in both eyes. No. So,
I loved Rugrats. And I also liked Rugrats because when I was a kid, I loved babies and dogs and cats and stuffed animals.
I enjoyed Rugrats. I did. I would have kept it probably in my top 15, maybe top 10. It would definitely be on my list, even as an older... I wonder who I'm getting messages from during a live broadcast. I'm going to tell you. Let's see here. Oh, it is. Don't worry about it. It's just a little message from Shining Wizards Eddie. Don't worry about it. I will talk about that on another broadcast. But anyway, Rugrats, yeah. I mean, as an older kid, I still liked it.
Yeah.
And you know what? They always blocked it with Doug and like that kind of block, so like I enjoyed watching it.
There was a point where it did have a little bit of I lost interest when Dill came into the picture.
Wait a minute, I don't even know who Dill is.
Dill is Tommy's baby brother, Dill Pickle, because the name is Tommy Pickles or Dill Pickles, and that's when I did lose interest. I did like the original core cast.
Did you watch the All Grown Up?
No, I never watched All Grown Up.
I didn't either.
All Grown Up. It was...
Number 6, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Loved it. Loved the movies.
Boy.
No, and as a matter of fact, I'm gonna fight for this with Adam Henning now that I read this. I'm gonna put like a star here. Look at me clicking my pen. Boom, boom, boom. I'm calling Adam Henning, and I'm hopefully gonna talk to him tonight. We got to do something on not the cartoons, but the movies. The first 2 were friggin' awesome, and like the cartoon, even though the cartoon was awesome. I loved it. I was a boy. I was the perfect age. I had the characters, marketing geniuses, or like He-Man or Thundercats, you know, a million action figures to collect, so there's like an unlimited amount of things to sell to me. And I loved it. Did you watch it, or did your brother watch it?
My brother watched it religiously. I did remember liking the movies, and I remember, but I like, you know, pizza.
Oh, the movie with where the little
I loved
the
the
little
baby
turtle.
turtles. Yes.
But that was like for 2 minutes.
Yes, I know, but those are the things that stick out in my mind about it. It was, my brother was very into it. I was very aware of it, but it was not something that I was that into. I didn't have like Ninja Turtle sheets or anything.
Well, that wouldn't
but
make
what
any
little
sense.
girl did,
Yeah. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. We're getting to our top 5. So we're gonna take another throwback ad break, and we are gonna come back with the top 5 of what StarPulse.com says is the top 20 kid shows of all times, and we're gonna tell them that they're wrong again. So anyway, we'll be right back after this throwback commercial break.
Are you a Nick maniac?
Yeah.
A fanatical follower of the First Kids
Yeah.
Network? The ultimate Nick fan? Then prove it by taking the Nick Maniac Challenge! Saturday, tune in for 2 hours of Nickelodeon's Guts. Sunday, it's 2 hours of Wild and Crazy Kids. While you're watching, Nick will challenge you with action questions which only a Nick Maniac could answer. Keep score and see how you rank. So, Nick Maniacs and Nick Maniac wannabes, take the Nick Maniac Challenge this weekend starting at 2/1 Central on Nick.
And we are back after another throwback ad that I hope took you back. If you're a Nick maniac, we took you back. That's all I'm saying.
Nick.
I am in the studio without my partner in crime, Adam Henning. I am joined by Sydney Chadwick. All right, number 5. I don't think I'd put it in my top 5, but I could see it being easily 6, 7, or 8. Clarissa Explains It All. I don't know where you would put it. Tell me.
I probably would have put it in my top 5. I have not watched it as an adult, when it was on,
we'll find a way for us to be able to see it.
I would love to rewatch it, but I do remember being a girl at the perfect age to fall in love with Clarissa Explains It All.
So number 5, you would keep it at Clarissa, or you would keep Clarissa in your top 5?
I would probably keep Clarissa at 5.
I would definitely have it at like 6, 7, 8, somewhere in there. Because I, even as a guy, really enjoyed the show. Like how, like when she would talk about things, like writing would come up on the screen.
Yeah.
Or like her flashbacks where like arrows would point at people when they're doing something stupid, or like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like there was drawings. It was very much like Lizzie McGuire, but a very different way.
Oh, it was definitely the 90s Lizzie McGuire, no doubt, with her funky clothes and her quirky attitude and her bratty
her room
little...
was painted like ridiculous. Like my parents would never let me paint my room like that.
Her bratty little brother. And
Ferguson.
Ferguson. Kooky parents. It was definitely the 90s Lizzie McGuire.
And I haven't watched it in a while, but I'm willing to bet that it's going to be when I rewatch it, I feel like I'm going to feel the same way I do about Clarissa that I do about Pete and Pete, where I feel like I'm going to watch it and think that people, like the adults, really like, even though they knew it was a kid's show, really put their all into it and like really performed to their goofy characters.
Yes.
So, whatever. Number 4, I would never have put in my top 20 ever, and I'll tell you why in a minute. Kenan and Kel. Would you have put it in your top 20? I don't know.
I might have put it in my top 20. I did watch it and like it. I was always a big Kenan and Kel fan because I was always a big All That fan. So I liked Kenan and Kel.
So Kenan and Kel, you wouldn't have put it in your top 5?
No, I would not have put it in my top 5, but I definitely would have put it in a top list, probably a top 20.
Yeah, I just feel like whoever wrote this list, that in order to put it Kenan and Kel at number 4, they've got to be closer to your age than to my age, because you can't do that on television was so much better than Kenan and Kel. So that's all I'm saying. But Kenan and Kel, whatever. Number 4, I wouldn't have put it on my list. I understand it ran for a while. Great, goody. Number 3, which for some reason I'm not saying. Oh, number 3. Oh, please, I'd put this on my top 5 easily. Salute Your Shorts.
Yes.
Camp Anawana. Are you kidding me?
Camp Anawana.
This
we
show.
hold you in our hearts.
Loved the show. Thought it was hilarious. Zeke the plumber was like. Do you remember Zeke the plumber?
I do.
He was like their scary urban legend of Camp Anawana. So I loved the show. I would have kept it in my top 5 without a doubt, because I would like to actually get it.
I would like to rewatch it. I probably would not have put it in my top 5 though.
Number 2, Are You Afraid of the Dark? Probably my favorite kid show of all time. I would have put it at number 1.
That would be in my top 5. I don't know if it would be number 1. it does get a little old watching it as an adult. I do like the stories. I've always liked ghost stories. I've always liked those kinds of things. As a child, it did really scare me. And I remember having a problem with that it was on SNICK, and it was the last when I was watching it.
No,
in
it
the
always
period
was. It was always like the 9:30, like 9:30 to 10 slot before
and
Nick at Night.
it would be the show that I would watch before bed, and I remember that Are You Afraid of the Dark kept me up many a Saturday night as a result.
I waited up for Are You Afraid of the Dark. Like my Saturday nights as a kid were waiting. Like when I was done with hanging out or whatever, I was getting ready for SNICK at 8 o'clock. And I can't believe they changed it to Teen Nick. What was wrong with SNICK? It was like they had like this after hours feel going to it, like going to each commercial break.
Yeah, SNICK was fun.
Yeah, like I feel like that lured me in just as much as the shows, because it was part of like this special time.
Hey, you gonna watch SNICK tonight?
Yeah, you gonna watch some SNICK?
You want to have a sleepover and watch SNICK?
Yeah, you want to come out and have popcorn and watch some SNICK?
Yep, that's what it was.
And it usually would turn into
always
a
have
sleepover
sleepovers, watch SNICK.
Well, yeah, because usually parents aren't going to want to come pick you up at like 10 o'clock at night.
And then at my little girls' sleepovers, we would all squeal during Are You Afraid of the Dark?
And let me tell you,
eat our colored popcorn.
Nickelodeon colored popcorn.
Colored popcorn.
While playing with your GAC and your Floam. Mm-hmm. And then finally on StarPulse.com's #1. Not ours, not the Midnight Jury. This doesn't represent WLW Studios Midnight Jury, Sydney, Mike, or Adam, or Tim, or anyone associated with the Midnight Jury. #1, they have All That. I wouldn't have put it in my top 5, but I would have put it in probably my top 10, top 15.
I would have put it in my top 5. I don't know if I would have put it at #1. With that said, I don't know what I would put at #1. I'm a little sad Rocko's Modern Life isn't on there. That was one that I watched a lot. I watched Wienerville a lot. Yeah, so I do clearly throughout this list we've had some stipulations with this list, but it was a good guideline for us to work off of in, kind of.
And I like the original versions of All That. Like I watched the beginning of All That. And then when they started changing the cast and stuff, I mean, I like now as an adult, and I've watched SNL since I was almost a little kid, almost the same time I watched All That. But I didn't accept the cast changes to All That like I did the cast changes to SNL.
Yeah.
And I really missed a lot of people when they left, and I got a little too old at that point, and at that point became a SNL watcher.
Yeah.
But now I'm happy that I'm seeing Keenan.
Yeah.
So.
Except I expected a little bit more out of Keenan.
That's true.
He was very, very talented on All That, and I remember being very excited that he was on Saturday Night Live, but being a little bit disappointed because I felt like he hadn't really grown past the All That comedy.
See, I started falling out during the Amanda Bynes era.
Mm-hmm.
That's when I started falling out, and then I also I don't even think I watched one episode that Nick Cannon was on. I think I was well past All That onto SNL at that point in Mad TV.
Yeah.
So, real quickly, while during our last little throwback ad break, I threw a quick just Nickelodeon top 5 that I would choose, like off the top of my head, looking through this list and other things, and I would have probably done something like Are You Afraid of the Dark, Pete and Pete, Salute Your Shorts, Legends of the Hidden Temple. You can't do that on television. That would have been my personal list. It could fluctuate, it could change a little bit, but I mean, I can't wait to really get into it and get into the specific shows. Doug with Adam Henning and hopefully Tough Guy Tom Skelkin.
Mm-hmm.
Are You Afraid of the Dark with you and Adam Henning, and Pete and Pete with you, and I know Tim Mayfield watched that like tons. So I'm really pumped. Did you have a good time?
I did. I had a great time.
All right. Either way, this is the Midnight Jury. This was a bonus episode 4.5. I believe. Did we agree? 4.5.
Yes.
This is episode 4.5, the bonus segment of the Midnight Jury. You're doing I'm listening to New Order. You're doing Doug.
I'm doing the fade out.
Okay. I'll do the fade out. Don't worry about it. Get out of here. Ladies and gentlemen, for Sydney Chadwick, you want to say goodbye?
Goodbye. Thank you. It was a pleasure being here. Thank you for having me.
It was a pleasure having you, and I'm excited for episode 5. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Mike Noringonger live from Center City, Philadelphia in Studio B of WLW Studios. This is the Midnight Jury. We'll see you episode 5.